Are you over 60 and feel like your body just doesn't respond like it used to? That feeling of waking up tired even after a full night's sleep, of making an effort that used to be simple, and feeling like it took twice as long to recover, of looking in the mirror and realizing that the energy you had 10 years ago has been slowly fading away, almost without you noticing. If this resonates with you, I need you to stay here until the end of this video, because what I'm going to share today is unlike anything you've ever seen about health and metabolism after 60. And when I say different, I'm not talking about a new miracle supplement. I'm not talking about a restrictive diet that will starve you. I'm not talking about an intense exercise routine that will leave you sore the next day. I'm talking about something much simpler than that. A 24-hour cycle, 3 biological signals, and minimal consistency. That's all. But before I explain how it works, let me tell you what most people are doing wrong and why, even with so much information available, most people over 60 still feel trapped in this sensation of slowness, of stiffness, of a body that seems to be working against them. Because here we talk about real health, without fads, without exaggeration, and without beating around the bush. New video every week. Maybe someone told you to take a cold shower every day, go for a walk on an empty stomach, consume ginger, turmeric, omega-3, magnesium, vitamin D, green tea, hibiscus tea, and maybe you tried all of that at the same time. And do you know what happens when we try to do everything at once? The body freezes. Not because he's weak, not because you're too old to answer, but because the human body, especially after 60, doesn't function well with an excess of simultaneous stimuli. It functions with signals, clear signals, simple signals, signals repeated over a short period of time. When you bombard your body with 10 different stimuli at the same time, it doesn't know which signal to follow. It's like trying to listen to 10 different songs at once. You can't hear any of them clearly. And then people give up. They say they've tried everything, that their bodies just don't respond anymore, that it's just age. But it's not about age. It's an excess of complexity at a stage of life when the body is asking for exactly the opposite. Are you over 60 and feel like your body just doesn't respond like it used to? That feeling of waking up tired even after a full night's sleep, of making an effort that used to be simple and feeling like it took twice as long to recover, of looking in the mirror and realizing that the energy you had 10 years ago has been slowly fading away, almost without you noticing. If this resonates with you, I need you to stay here until the end of this video. Because what I'm going to share today is unlike anything you've ever seen about health and metabolism after 60. And when I say different, I'm not talking about a new miracle supplement. I'm not talking about a restrictive diet that will starve you. I'm not talking about an intense exercise routine that will leave you sore the next day. I'm talking about something much simpler than that. A 24-hour cycle, 3 biological signals, and minimal consistency. That's all. But before I explain how it works, let me tell you what most people are doing wrong and why. Even with so much information available, most people over 60 still feel trapped in this sensation of slowness, of stiffness, of a body that seems to be working against them. Seriously, stop for a second and think about it. Perhaps you've already tried intermittent fasting. Maybe you've experimented with drinking lemon water on an empty stomach every morning. Maybe someone told you to take a cold shower every day, go for a walk on an empty stomach, consume ginger, turmeric, omega-3, magnesium, vitamin D, green tea, hibiscus tea. And maybe you tried all of that at the same time. And do you know what happens when we try to do everything at once? The body freezes, not because he's weak, not because you're too old to answer, but because the human body, especially after 60, doesn't function well with an excess of simultaneous stimuli. It functions with signals. Clear signals, simple signals, signals repeated over a short period of time. When you bombard your body with 10 different stimuli at the same time, it doesn't know which signal to follow. It's like trying to listen to 10 different songs at once. You can't hear any of them clearly, and then people give up. They say they've tried everything, that their bodies just don't respond anymore, that it's just age. But it's not about age. It's an excess of complexity at a stage of life when the body is asking for exactly the opposite. Part 2. The central idea. The 3 pillars of the protocol. Now imagine that instead of conducting the orchestra calmly and clearly, you arrive in front of it shouting 10 commands at the same time. That's exactly what happens when we try to apply 6, 7, 10 health protocols simultaneously. The body doesn't play the music. It freezes. And what I discovered, studying everything there is about metabolism, longevity, and biological response in people over 60, is that the body, at this stage of life, responds in a surprising way when you offer it just 3 well-applied signals within a 24-hour cycle. Not 10, not 6, 3. And these 3 signals work together sequentially, like parts of the same mechanism. One prepares the ground for the next amplifies the previous one, and together, the 3 create an internal environment that promotes energy, recovery, and a feeling of vitality in a natural way. This is the simple 24-hour protocol. And I'm going to explain each pillar to you now, calmly, without complicated terms, without beating around the bush. It's a light fast. But I need you to get rid of any image of suffering, of going without food all day, of being sick from hunger, because that's not what it's like. What we're talking about here is simply reducing the period in which you eat to an 8-hour window each day. This means that if you have your breakfast at 9 in the morning, your last meal of the day will be by 5 in the afternoon. Or if you prefer to start at noon, you finish at 8 in the evening. You choose the window that makes the most sense for your routine. What matters is the interval. 16 hours without eating, 8 hours eating. And why does this work? The human body has 2 main modes of operation. The digestion and storage mode, which is when you are eating and processing food. And the cleansing and regeneration mode, which is when you are fasting. The problem is that most people spend the entire day in digestion mode. They wake up, have coffee, snack on something at 10, have lunch, eat something at 3, have dinner, snack at night, and go to sleep with their digestive system still working. At this rate, the body almost never enters cleansing and regeneration mode. And it is precisely this mode that the body uses to repair cells, balance hormones, regulate blood sugar, and renew energy in a cleaner and more efficient way. When you create a 16-hour fasting window, you're essentially giving your body enough time to enter this regeneration mode every day. And most importantly, you don't need to do it perfectly. If you step away from the window for an hour one day, that's fine. If you want to have dinner later with your family on the weekend, that's fine too. The goal isn't rigidity. It's about creating a consistent pattern throughout the week. The body responds to the pattern, not to the perfection of a single day. 30 to 60 seconds of cold water at the end of your shower. Just that. I know. I hear you. Almost everyone's first reaction is, no way. Especially on colder days. Especially after 60, when the body naturally feels the cold more. But let me explain what happens in your body during those 30 seconds. When cold water touches your skin, the nervous system receives a mild warning signal. Not a sign of danger, not a threat, an activation signal. The body responds by increasing circulation, releasing a small amount of natural adrenaline, activating temperature receptors in the skin, and sending a vitality signal to the brain. It's like a reset of the nervous system. And what people who practice this report very consistently is a feeling of mental clarity and energy that lasts for a good part of the day. It's not euphoria. It's not an artificial stimulant. It's a feeling of being more awake, more present, more alive. And here's the important part. You don't need to take a completely cold shower. The protocol is simple. Take your shower normally, at your preferred temperature. In the last 30 to 60 seconds, turn the water to cold. Breathe. Let the water run over your neck, shoulders, chest, and back. And finish your shower. Ready. It doesn't have to be torture. It doesn't have to be heroic. It's a mild signal. And mild signals, repeated consistently, have a much greater cumulative effect than extreme stimuli applied only once. If you have any cardiovascular conditions or any medical restrictions, please speak with your doctor before including this in your routine. This protocol is not recommended for everyone without evaluation, and I prefer to be honest about this rather than sell you an empty promise. Pillar 3. The strategic meal with chilled carbohydrates. The third pillar is what surprises people the most, especially those who have spent years afraid of carbohydrates. A meal with chilled carbohydrates. Cooked and cooled white rice, cooked and cooled potatoes. These two foods, when cooked and then cooled for at least 4 hours in the refrigerator, undergo a natural chemical transformation called starch retrogradation. And what does that mean in practice? This means that the starch in this food is reorganized in a way that your body digests more slowly and efficiently. It generates less of a blood sugar spike. It serves as food for beneficial gut bacteria, and it provides energy in a more stable and prolonged way. This isn't a new theory. There are already consistent studies on this, but I won't go into technical terms now because the goal here is simple. You don't need to understand biochemistry to benefit from it. What you need to do is cook your rice or potatoes normally. Let them cool to room temperature. Store in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. And consume cold or slightly warmed, without frying or sautéing with excess fat. You can eat it with vegetables, with protein, with whatever side dish you prefer. The key is to use chilled carbohydrates as the base of your main meal within your eating window. And this strategic meal completes the protocol cycle. It comes after the light fast, which prepared the body's internal environment, and it provides the right fuel at the right time in the right way. This really helps the channel get this information to more people who need to hear it. And if you have any questions about these 3 pillars, leave them in the comments below. I read them all, and I understand that way of thinking. We live in a time when we are bombarded with information all the time. Every week, a new protocol appears. A new study, a new expert saying they've discovered the ultimate secret to health and longevity. And over time, we start to distrust everything. You start to think that if it's not complicated, if it doesn't have a difficult scientific name to pronounce, if it's not expensive, it probably doesn't work. But I need to tell you something that goes against all of that. The human body wasn't designed to respond to complexity. It was designed to respond to signals, simple signals, clear signals, consistent signals. Think about it. Your body knows how to heal a cut without you having to think about it. It knows how to regulate your temperature without you needing to give a conscious command. It knows how to digest food, filter blood, renew cells, fight viruses. All of this happens automatically, in the background, all the time. The body already knows what to do. What you need to do is create the right conditions for him to do this job more efficiently. And that's exactly what the simple 24-hour protocol does. He doesn't force anything. He doesn't impose anything. He simply offers the body 3 sequential signals that create an internal environment conducive to regeneration, balance, and energy. A light fast tells the body, you have time to cleanse and reorganize yourself. Thermal stimulation tells the body, you are alive, active, responsive. A strategic meal tells the body, you have clean and stable fuel to work with. 3 signals, 1 cycle, 24 hours, and the effect isn't immediate, like a pill. It's cumulative, like a workout. You don't see the muscle grow the day after a workout. But if you train consistently for weeks, the results become undeniable. It's the same with the body. If you have diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, kidney problems, a history of eating disorders, or any other health condition, you need to talk to your doctor before making any changes to your diet or lifestyle, especially fasting, especially if you use medication that depends on meal times. I'm not here to sell you a magic solution that works the same way for everyone, because that would be a lie, and I'd rather lose a view than give you irresponsible information. What I'm saying is that these 3 pillars, when applied sensibly and within your individual circumstances, have a solid foundation of evidence and practical accounts from real people who have consistently applied them. And the most important word here is not intensity. It's about consistency. You don't need to fast for 16 hours every day to start. You can start with 12 hours. You can start with 13 and adjust over time. You don't need to endure 60 seconds of cold water on the first day. You can start with 10 seconds, 15, 20, and increase it at your own pace. You don't need to change your entire diet at once. You can include chilled carbohydrates in 1 meal a day and observe how your body responds. Lightweight versions of the protocol are still the protocol. The body responds to the signal, even if the signal starts out small. I'm talking about concrete, everyday things. Waking up with less of that heavy hangover-like feeling from sleep. Spending the afternoon without that energy crash that seemed inevitable after lunch. To feel your bowels functioning more regularly. To have a mental clarity that I hadn't experienced in a long time. Sleep better, even without changing anything in your bedroom routine. These aren't promises. They're accounts from real people who simply reduced excessive strategies and focused on fewer things, applied more consistently. And you know what's curious? Many of these people said that the biggest change wasn't physical at first. It was mental. It was the feeling that they finally had a clear path to follow. No confusion. No guilt for not being able to follow 10 protocols at the same time. No feeling like they were always failing. Because when you simplify, you succeed. And when you succeed, you continue. And when you continue, the body responds. This is the cycle that truly transforms. So let me leave you with one last idea before we finish this video. Health after 60 is not a battle against time. It's a conversation with your body. And like any good conversation, it requires clarity, patience, and consistency. No shouting, no impossible demands, no excesses. The simple 24-hour protocol is an invitation for you to start this conversation in a different way. Simpler, kinder, more sustainable. You can test just one of the 3 pillars this week. Only one. And observe how your body responds. Without pressure, without rigid expectations, with curiosity. Because the secret isn't doing everything right every day. The secret is to do something right most days. And anyone can do that, regardless of age, regardless of history, regardless of how many attempts have come before. You're still here. Your body is still responding. And that's enough to start with. It makes a huge difference in helping the channel continue to grow and bring this information to more people who need it. And look, a video is playing on the screen now. I chose it especially for you who made it to the end of this video, because it perfectly complements what we talked about today. Go watch it. I'm sure it will be worth every minute. Until the next video.